Welcome to Look Around the Confederation, where we never fix the intro. I'm your producer for the evening, Moose, and we have another great episode of Look Around the Confederation for you, and I have a special host tonight. So our host for this evening will be Chief of Heritage Operations, Mr. Ron Kennedy.
Thank you, Moose. We appreciate you. And we've got on with us the Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief, somebody that looks a lot like me, not quite as good looking and as young looking as me. But anyway, Walter Donnie Kennedy, and special guest, our Deputy Chief of Heritage Operation, Bobby Herring. Bobby, we appreciate you joining us with us. And you're up in Bossier City, or are you in Shreveport?
I'm in Shreveport, unfortunately.
Ooh, Shreveport. That's almost like being in New Orleans, isn't it?
Sometimes there's a good comparison between the two. We're not that bad yet, though.
Well, we won't bother the world with our problems down here in Louisiana. Also, the Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief, we've got a lot going on. There's been a lot of positive things going on. I want to start off with the things that's good that's going on, that's exciting. And one of them is, and I'm so proud of the folks in Virginia. And by the way, Donald and I will be in Virginia next week. Yes. And we'll talk a little more about that. But we have one of the things. Well, first, let me talk about the people in South Carolina. We got so many good things going on across the Confederation. I'm going to lose track here. But the good folks in South Carolina, they managed to get their House of Representatives to pass a resolution favoring the maintaining of the Reconciliation Monument in Arlington, and really giving the resolution is really a great resolution. I am going to try to get this broken down. I need, if anybody's from South Carolina that has the exact date when this was passed. I think it was done today, but I'm not sure. And the title of the resolution. All it says here is South Carolina House Resolution to memorialize the United States Congress to vote against removal of the Confederate Memorial at Arlington National Cemetery. And then a super nice, concise, not lengthy, but concise resolution that gives the very basic history of the resolution. And they sent this to all of the representatives in Congress from South Carolina. So it's a great thing. And folks in South Carolina, hurrah for you. You've done a great job. And I'm hoping, matter of fact, I got a couple of emails from folks from Tennessee that said they were going to try to get it passed through their house. I hope every southern state will do that. I know, Bobby, you're going to be talking. Now, Bobby, in addition to being the Deputy Chief of Heritage Operation, Bobby, what other title do you carry in Louisiana?
I'm just a flunky for our division. Actually, I'm the first lieutenant commander for the current term. Prior to that, I was the adjutant for the division for about 12 years. Once you get into that job, it's hard to get out. And by the way, I don't want to steal someone's title now. I'm actually the Deputy Chief of Heritage Promotions.
This is right. You're right. You're absolutely right. So thank you for that correction. That was my part, my fault. My bad, as they say. But nonetheless, I hope that we can get something maybe in Louisiana House of Representatives this session when it comes up also. But every state across the Confederation, if you can follow this example, and I'm going to try to get the exact title of the resolution from South Carolina and the date that it was passed, and then I'm going to post it to our new Confederate Legion website so everybody can take a look at it, download it, and use that as a template in your state if you so desire. So that's something coming up. And we're going to talk about the new Confederate Legion website at a later time. But hurrah for South Carolina. The first to fire at Fort Sumter and the first to secede. God bless South Carolina. We appreciate what you've done. Lieutenant Commander.
Right quick, Ron, could I mention the fact that what's so wonderful about this is that the SCV we've already sent all of these Southern representatives copies of our press release about the monument and everything. So they've heard from the national. Hopefully some of the divisions and camps have done the same thing. Now, if they'll start hearing from state legislators the same message, if 10 or 15 southern states would get the legislators would send something like this to Washington, not only will we save that monument and maybe kick some butt at that woke military naming commission, but the name of the SCV will be well known. So folks, let's get with it.
Yeah, I just want to make clear, Donald and I talk about this a lot. It's easy to get confused. We sent it to the federal congressional representatives. So, yeah, very important. Another great thing, again, comes from Virginia. And Moose, if you'll put that billboard up, this is really exciting. 7 billboards statewide for the entire month of April, thanks to the Virginia Division of Sons of Confederate Legion. Now, the Confederate Legion is challenging all divisions to let the public know who we are. And this is a beautiful billboard. Lamar did it at Billboard Company, and I've already mentioned the fact to the Commander-in-Chief, Jason Brochures, that we need to get with all the divisions and see if we can put together something like this in every Confederate division across the South for next April. So we need to start working right away to get it. But this was a very reasonable price that they got on this. And I think maybe if we go together, having, say, 10 states do it as well as Virginia, then I believe we can have a great impact. So that's a beautiful, beautiful billboard, and it lets everybody know that we are active, protecting our honorable heritage. Donald, what do you think about that billboard?
I love it. And you know what I like about the billboard? It doesn't say a lot. It's got image. It's got visual. It's almost like a visual magnet. It with the soldiers there. It draws people to it, and it's very simple. Billboard, you've got about 7 seconds to get your message out and across, and that type of billboard to do it. Years ago, Ron, remember when the SCV we had billboards? Ron and I were pushing the idea of billboards. This is back in the 90s, I believe, 1990s.
Yeah.
Almost said 1890s, 1990s. and finally they got some billboards, but my God, they tried to write an epistle on a billboard, and they were amazed they didn't get very good results with it. Well, they had too much on it. You cannot say much on a billboard. About 7 seconds at most, more likely 5 seconds is all you're going to have time to get your message across on a billboard.
And I'm glad to see that 1-800-MY-DIXIE is still operation and in use.
Yes.
Because we used to have posters we'd put up with that on it, but that was back in the 90s as well. So anyway, but again, high five to the folks in Virginia. That's going to stay up for a full month, all across 7 billboards all across Virginia. And Bobby and I are going to be talking to the Louisiana division commander, and hopefully next year we'll be able to join in and do as well. That's a great opportunity and beautiful billboard. If we've already got the template for it, man, all we got to do is change the name a little bit. Instead of Heritage Month in Virginia, say Heritage Month in Mississippi or Alabama or West Virginia or wherever. So that will be great. Looking forward to talking to the folks in Virginia about this. Let me, go ahead.
As you told me yesterday, that's the Lamar Sign Company, and they're nationwide.
Yeah.
And maybe they would cut each, instead of us having to negotiate for each state, they would cut us a package deal for the whole region.
Yeah, I talked to Commander-in-Chief about that, and he thought it was a good idea. And we're just going to see if we can put that together by the time the reunion, because you can't wait till February of next year to try to do it. You got to have the divisions committed to doing that, and we'll go to Lamar with a big check and say, here it is, and see if they'll do it. I feel like they will. If they'll do it in Virginia, I can't imagine them not doing it across the South. So, but we shall see. Certainly give them a chance to tell us no.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to be very positive and say, yeah, they'll do it. That is just an outstanding billboard. Now, notice that there's no, quote, rebel flags on it. And I know a lot of purists are going to be upset because you don't have the, Forrest charging across with his saber and Confederate flags. Well, one day we'll be able to do that. But, like I said, one step at a time. We've got to get our name out to the general public. Let's see, Moose, I want to talk a little bit about the change in the national SCV website. Can you pull that one page up that I had that showed the national scv.org? Maybe he can, maybe he can't. But Donald, you want to talk about some of the things that they've done to that that website, the SCV website, to try to improve it?
Yeah, well, the main thing is to be able to see how to join the SCV, how to donate to the SCV, and make it easier to maneuver through to find places like the Confederate Legion and things of that nature. It needs to be more obvious. And our problem is we're a pretty big organization, and our website right now is geared for membership. But unfortunately, this is our front page to the world, and the world does not understand the SCV. So we have to make it a lot easier for the general public to, when they go to that website, they'll know what they're looking at, and they can find some information a lot easier. As you can see up at the top, it's join, renew, donate, friends of the SCV. Now, this is a wonderful idea, folks. I don't know, I believe on Commander's comment, Ron and Commander Brochere's remarked about the Friends of the SCV is a large untapped resource for the SCV. And we're going to be pushing the idea of getting more people in the Friends column, and to help a lot of those friends with their genealogy so they can become members of the SCV. But friends are counted as members, and that will also help us in getting people to join and to recognize who we are as an organization. In a little bit, I'll be talking about some of the national ads that we're doing. And when you go national, you're going to have a lot of people who may want to help out, and they can either donate or join on the Friends of the SCV. So that is just some of the things that we're doing. And we're hoping to have the Confederate Legion website also, when you hit on here, to go straight to the Confederate Legion website. And it should be, if all goes well, up and running within a reasonable length of time, hopefully.
Well, it's already running. Yeah.
Now,
and we'll talk about that in just a little while, but I wanted everybody to see the shield in the middle there to the right of the Confederate Museum. Yeah, that is the registered trademark of the Confederate Legion. Make Dixie great again. But we're changing that. We're going to have a new logo. That shield will be put back in the closet. We won't use that. We're going to have a new logo. As a matter of fact, Bobby has some suggestions on someone that's really good at putting together logos. So we're going to, matter of fact, Bobby, if you get a chance, why don't you talk to that individual and see if he's interested in coming up with a new Confederate Legion.
Will do. But I want to make sure everybody knows, if they tap that shield now, it will take them to the Confederate Legion website.
Good. Yeah, and Bobby just spent a lot of time going through the website, which, as you can tell by my constant coughing, that I've been under the weather now for about a week and a half to 2 weeks, and course, I think Bobby is just getting over the same stuff. So we've all been a little under the weather, but he did a great job.
Not me. I've been healthy.
Yeah. Well, you'll get your
Obviously, y'all not drinking enough good bourbon.
Well, maybe so. All right. Okay. You can take that one down, Moose. So we'll get back to our discussion. We had quite a interesting survey done lately. Now, you want to tell them about the national survey?
Okay, well, we're talking
not
about
the national, the Southern survey.
Good.
I'm sorry.
Okay, but I'm hoping everybody is aware of our national survey, which has reported that 60 or 64% of Americans basically support Southern heritage, Southern history, Southern culture. In other words, they're not anti-Confederate, anti-Lee, anti-monument, et cetera, et cetera. And that was nationally. That's not Southern. Now, we've just recently done a poll of Southern conservative voters, and we're polling those individuals to see these voters who are electing conservative people to Congress and legislature and your county commission and your town council and your school boards, etc. These so-called conservatives need to know how their constituency feel about Southern heritage. So the SCV has just completed a national poll, and it's raw right now. We just got the information recently, but I'm just going to touch on broadly saying that it turned out to be very good. It shows somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 and 85% of conservative voters are very supportive of Southern heritage. As a matter of fact, those voters who had something negative to say was like 2-3%. So the point with this is that your local conservative, and when I say conservative, you can think libertarian, you can think independent, you can think Republican. That is usually your conservative voters. You do have some still conservative and moderate Democrats. So I'm not discounting those gentlemen, ladies or gentlemen, but basically they're going to be of the other category. But these people need to know up front how their people feel about Southern heritage. In other words, the SCV is not representing a small minority of people. We represent the vast majority of Southerners and also Americans in this view of protecting Southern history, Southern heritage. Therefore, whenever an issue comes up locally, when you go down to your courthouse to meet with your commissioners, you go in there already armed. They know ahead of time, if you've done your job, they know ahead of time how the people who voted to get them in office feel about this issue. And that is so very important. So we'll have more information on how to use this. And I think Ron's going to be talking about that here in a second on some of the things we can do to really use this tool. Now, again, this is a tool that has been developed by the National Sons of Confederate Veterans. A tool in your toolbox is absolutely useless if you don't pick it up and use it. Now, who picks up these tools and use it? The National can do a little, but the bulk of the use of that tool has to come from the local level. If we don't get the Richard Taylor camp in Shreveport off their tail and doing something, I'm doing that because Bobby's from the Richard Taylor camp, and they do a heck of a lot. But the local camps do not use this information and inform, number one, their elected officials, and number two, the general public. Yes, you're not alone. Everybody in the South feels this way. We're pro-South. Let those people know, yes, politicians, these people who vote for you, they're in favor of those things that the Sons of Confederate Veterans represent. So you better not be stomping on their monument and kicking their heritage down the street, or else you're going to have some mad voters on your hands. That is what these tools are good for. And that is how you, folks, if we ever protect our monuments, it will not be done in some damnable court. The courts are run by the federal government and their lackey states. Every state right now is just a lackey appendage of the federal government, and they will not defend the Confederacy. They hate the Confederacy. My God, they shot at our people. They killed our people. They starved our people. They don't like us. So we've got to go to a different court, and that's the court of public opinion, and those people are on our side. And we can win in that court, and we can force the politicians who stab us in the back. They did it in Georgia. They did it in Louisiana. They did it in Mississippi. By George, they did it in Mississippi when you had the people already voted to keep the flag, but the wormy little politicians, they turned against the people of Mississippi. We can make a difference now. So, but it won't be done if the divisions and if the brigades and if the camps do not get active and busy and using these tools and taking that information to the proper source. And there's several ways of doing that. And I'm going to back off and let Ron tell you a little bit about how you can do that.
Well, first of all, Donald is absolutely right. And of course, everybody that's listened to us has heard us say this time and time again. The important aspect of the SCV has to be accomplished not in the national headquarters, but at the camp and by the camp members. And if we could get even half of the camps involved in this operation, we can make a wonderful difference, a great difference in what's going on. So what we'll do is we're digesting all of this information. There's a lot of information. We're going to put together a short paragraph that you can send to every one of your elected officials. Now, here's the point. Let's say I'm going to use my own camp, NB Forest Camp 1931 in Mandeville, Louisiana. We'll take this information about the poll results. How many? Well, one of the questions is, I believe our elected conservative officials should do more to protect traditional American values and heroes. That has something like an 80%, 85% value. We're going to include that and send that to every elected official. I do not support the removal of monuments erected to honor regional and national American historical figures. That had a tremendous positive. I don't support that. Our elected officials need to get this information. They won't get it because they don't listen to SCV chat or Look Around the Confederation. They don't read the Confederate Veteran. It's our job at the local camp here in Mandeville to take this information and look at every one of our, quote, conservative elected officials and send them an email with this information in it from the Mandeville SCV camp. If we can't find their email address, we'll just mail it to them. But it should go to their, certainly your state legislatures. It should go to your sheriff. Let the sheriff know. It
Amen.
Should go to your county commissioners, if that's what you have. In Louisiana, it goes to your police juryman. It should go to your dog catcher. It should go to the constable. It should go to every elected official. And it shouldn't be in drips and drabs. It should all go close to the same time. Now, why is that important? Well, ever heard of shock value in troops? When you're charging the shock value, you can take 100 men and charge one at a time and wear out the whole 100 and it won't have any effect. But if 100 of them hits that concentrated point at one time, the shock value will break the enemy's line. That's what we've got to do. So if the people in Mandeville will do their job, we can get shock value to every one of these conservative elected officials. And look, when they get together talking, they'll talk about it.
Amen.
Did you hear that? What do you think about that? So now when it's time for Ron Kennedy or someone else to go to the local school board, every one of those school board members who are elected by conservatives know that, hey, these SCV people, they know their facts, and they've already showed us that the majority of the conservatives in St. Tammany Parish agree with them. So that's the shock value. It should be done in every parish of the state of Louisiana. It should be done in every county in those poor common law states and the rest of the rest of the Confederation. Every county should have that. So it's very important. And don't forget, send it to your U.S. senator, U.S. representative, if they're a conservative. Great, wonderful, send it. But the main thing you want to do is send it to your local conservative elected officials. And again, who's going to do that? Is that going to be done in National, Donald?
No, sir.
We don't have the logistical depth necessary to do it. Besides, it wouldn't have nearly the impact.
Right. There you go.
Comes from Ron Kennedy who lives in Mandeville. That's a big difference than coming from Walter Kennedy that lives even in another county, parish of the state. It's got to be local. What did they say? All politics is local. Well, and this is a sad thing. We in the SCV, we have not leveraged our internal lines of communication. We are close to the ground. We have the inside. We have the inside track. If we are running on a NASCAR or if we're running a foot race, we have the inside track. We're the closest to the grassroots. If we'll leverage this, if we'll do that, it will make a major difference. So that's something that'll be coming out. Look for it on Constant Contact. I'll send it out to all the folks. We'll also send it, put the notice out on the Telegraph, and we're going to post the information on the Confederate Legion new website, and we're going to try to get this information to every elected conservative official in the South. Moose, we're coming up on 7:30. Do you want to do a quick Pop-Tart break?
We can go ahead and do one. Of course, tonight's Pop-Tart break is sponsored by the Kennedy Twins' newest book, Jefferson Davis, High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government. Jefferson Davis was a leader in the high road to emancipation. He looked for a day in which slaves would be able to participate and live in society. But he did more than advocate for this high road to emancipation. He practiced his beliefs in the ultimate emancipation of Southern slaves, and many of his former slaves left for prosperity in their testimony about their former master who prepared them to be a self-sustaining member of society. Of course, you can get Jefferson Davis High Road to Emancipation Constitutional Government at www.kennedytwins.com and most online bookstores. We thank the Kennedy Twins for sponsoring tonight's Pop-Tart break, and we'll be right back after the Pop-Tart break.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Man, I love that ad. I really love that ad. Listen, Moose, if you don't mind, I want to ask Bobby Herring to tell everybody about his adventure on our new web page, the Confederate Legion web page. Can you put the Confederate Legion web page up for us? And as soon as if you can get that done, I know we had it up shortly ago. There we go. All right, Bobby, tell us a little bit about your experience on this.
Well, as you recall, several months ago, I told you I before I could recommend something to somebody, I got to try it myself. And the old site was starting to have options that didn't work anymore. One day they would work, the next day they would not work. And I kind of mentioned it to you, and you told me y'all were designing this new website. And so yesterday I got a chance to go. Uh, you can join the Confederate Legion. If you scroll down, it says join the Legion or rejoin the Legion, or you can just donate to the cause. And I did look at the join and the rejoin options. Uh, you can do those, but you might right now the only option is to pay with a debit or credit card or PayPal. If you go to donate, it actually gives you an option to mail it in. So I think we might need to do that for the join and rejoin too at some point. Uh, but I kind of went through the process. I'm already a member, but I went through and it appears to be working properly. So that was an issue with the old site. And then as you go down, all the ads that we've accumulated, and I sat last night. I've heard them before, but once you get started, I've started listening to each one of them again. They have a nice little tune that goes with them that's kind of catchy, and that kind of grabs your attention. But every one of them will give you information to use just when you're talking to your friends that aren't SCV or some of our detractors. And I think there's about 12 of them there. So you can download these ads. You can put them on your own Facebook page, or you can download them and take them to a radio station. Several of the camps in Louisiana have done that. And then I think you and Donnie actually got Moon Griffon, which most people won't know who that is except in Louisiana. But he's like a Sean Hannity of Louisiana or something like that everybody listens to on the radio. And y'all got him to run some of the ads. In fact, I was listening one day, and I don't always pay attention. I got the radio on when I used to work, and I'm driving from one place, and all of a sudden I realized, hey, they're talking about us. And it feels good when you hear that. So even below where you can download those ads, it gives you some information about how to use the radio free ads, and you can click on each one of these. That'll give you some information if you're just getting started. Of course, you can always email us at clegion@reagan.com. And if I can't answer the questions, I get them to Ronnie or Donnie, whoever needs to hear it, and we'll help you get started. And then as you scroll on down, it's just about the Legion. I wasn't sure about this constant contact thing where it says fresh contact direct to you. Is that for members only of the Legion, or can anybody who sees that sign up for an email?
Anyone can sign up for it, because we have a lot of friends and others who have signed up for it.
Okay, so you don't have to be a Legion member. In fact, to be a Legion member, you don't have to be an SCV member.
Right.
Which is the great thing. There are a lot of good people who either don't know their ancestry or have the wrong ancestry, and they believe in what we believe in. And So you don't have to be an SCV member to be a Legion member, and you don't have to even be a Legion member to get these regular emails with fresh content coming out from time to time. So I think it's a great website. The other website wasn't really designed for us, and I think that's where y'all made the changes this time. This is designed for us, by us, and it's strictly, the Legion is the SCV in a way, because it's run by the SCV, whereas the other, when it originally started with Make Dixie Great Again, it was someone who had great intent, but it wasn't really controlled by the SCV. So everything seems to be working. In fact, I noticed if Moose will scroll back to the top, this badge does say Confederate Legion on it.
Right.
Make Dixie Great Again.
Right.
Which probably ought to be the same badge we put on the national website. So it's a link. When you click on it, you know where you're going.
Yeah.
The Confederate Legion.
Yeah, I was sort of hoping we could get a new logo, but
I'll work on that.
Yeah.
So,
did you
I like it.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to look at any of the videos that was saved? I know we got all the not all, but a lot of the SCV chat videos on it.
Yeah, because up at the top right, you have a little menu bar, and if you click on that, you can either join the Confederate Legion from there or go back home. It's got the SCV chats, which are, I don't know if the most recent one or if the one we're doing now is on there, but all the recent SCV chats are on there. So I have seen those mostly. I didn't look at any, but I'm assuming that part works.
That looks great. And we've got a lot of videos that is yet to be posted on there. And I got to get back with Dean, the webmaster, to get those posted. There's quite a few of very good videos that we did with Make Dixie Great Again. We want those. They belong to us. And one of them, the one about Holt Collier, belongs to the state of Mississippi, I believe, but I believe we have permission to use that. We certainly want that on there. Holt Collier is a very interesting African-American who served as a Confederate during the war, and is largely responsible for the teddy bear, that's a great story, and a great story for kids as well. Well, Bobby, thank you for doing it.
It'd be nice to have them, because you can share those on your social media too, like the one we just watched at the Pop-Tart break. So they're not there yet.
Yeah, that's great. We appreciate that. All right. While we got talking about the Confederate Legion website, let me transfer over to the Heritage Defense Medal, because I want to get this information out while we still have time. Moose, if you have the Heritage, here we go. Heritage Defense Medal. You can go to the SCV main headquarters, main web page, and go down to search out. It's a task to find it. So what I've done is I've got this, and I've sent a copy to Bobby, and anybody that needs the form, scroll down just a little bit, Bobby, so they can see the form. I'm sorry, Bobby. Moose. Yeah, I want you to see. That's a really nice, attractive medal that you get for the Heritage Defense Medal. There's a nice certificate. Now, if you got, let's see, if you got the medal 1 year, you've already got the medal. You don't get it to wear another medal, but you get a star that goes on the ribbon there. So if you get appointed, now you need to have your camp commander make the appointment. the appointment needs to go to the division commander, and the division commander needs to send it to me, and you send it to me at sclegion@reagan.com. So make sure you send it to me. Bobby will get it. And you go, listen, Bobby, were you a CPA in the past or something? You are so well organized. Bobby is an organized man. Donald and I are like typical crackers. We're not organized. We're scattered all over the place. But Bobby will keep up with it and send it to me when he gets the form filled out. So please, it's several things you need to do in order to give the person. This isn't a participation trophy, okay? So as you read that, you'll see that there's certain things that we need to do. Like, for instance, this individual used social media to inform public about maintaining and preserving heritage. He just, like Bobby said, he put something on his web page or put something on his Facebook. Well, that's great. Okay. Do we need proof of it? No, I'm going to take the camp commander's word at it. I'm not, we don't have a pack of liars. I believe you. So check off what the individual has. When he gets up to 5 points, he deserves the medal. So send it in, sign it and send it in. Again, for those without division, do we send it to our Army? A great question. If you don't have a division, send it straight to me. That'll be the easiest thing to do. At sclegion@reagan.com. Moose, can you put that the email address? There we go. sclegion@reagan.com. Good question. Thank you very much.
Ron, be sure that they know they need to let you know that they do not have a division. They're a member at large or headquarters members, etc.
Right. It's very important. These medals need to go through the division commander if at all possible. If for whatever reason the division commander can't get it to me in time, I'm going to stretch the time as much as I can to get it to them. But National has to have time to buy the medals and to print the certificate. So it's not that we're just trying to be hard-nosed and say it's got to be in by April. But that's the point. It's got to be in time. So if you don't have the form, get the form. Again, if you're a camp member and you have a fellow camp member that you think deserves it, you fill it out, give it to the camp commander. If they sign this and they send it in, you can scan it in and send it by email. I would not recommend you send it by mail, but if you don't have the ability to scan it in and send it to us, then send it. Do what?
They got to send it to their division commander, and the division commander's got to send it to you. So don't confuse them.
Right. So the division commander's got to send it in, but he's got to be able to scan it in to send it electronically. That may be more difficult. So I'll take it in paper if he can get it to the national headquarters, but make sure you put on the envelope Heritage Defense Medal, and then I'll pick up the information from there. Excuse me. All right. Let's see what else we got going on. Donald, what have we got going on the national advertising front?
Well, I got tired of hearing you coughing, so I was going to tell you, let me talk a little bit.
No.
Listen, folks, Ron and I have said for a long time that the SCV is best kept secret about Southern heritage that we've ever known, because nobody knows who we are. And thank goodness a lot of our camps now are getting active and are doing things that are putting themselves, their name, in front of the general public in the local area. At the national level, we're doing something also. I'm going to mention two things. The first thing I want to mention, Moose, is the Roku device if any of you have Roku, this is a little device you can pick up at Walmart or Target, I believe, different places. And you can get all kind of TV programs. If you've got Wi-Fi and you've got a direct TV or whatever, Comcast, whatever system, you can get all kind of services off of this little device. And the price, interesting enough, goes from $30 to $300. I got the cheap end. Moose, can we go to the next thing? There we go. When you set your Roku deal up, it'll come up and you'll see a picture like this. If you'll look down where it says on this left side, AME TV. All right. If you'll tap on AME TV, you'll come up with a program there called History Highway by Rick Revels. Now, this program is seen by thousands and thousands of people from Wisconsin to Virginia from Florida all the way across to New Mexico. And Rick Revels is an SCV gentleman, and he did a program for us on the National Confederate Museum. And it's you can go on, click on this AME TV channel, and this is on your Roku when it comes up, and you'll pick up Rick Revels, and you'll just simply look for the History Highway, and it'll tell you, I believe it's program 20 and 21 is listed, the most recent one, and you'll see our museum or Ron or myself being interviewed. Rick interviews Commander-in-Chief brochures on the outside of the museum, and then Ron and I will do a quick little walk through the museum telling people about the museum. This information goes nationwide, essentially. Now, does it go to millions of people? Well, there are millions of potential viewers, but more than likely you're going to get anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 viewers. Out of that group, 95 to 99% will have never heard of the SCV until they click on this program and watch this channel here. Also, the ad, that 2-minute ad that Forrest Dawes did for us, it is being, with the SCV has bought time on this program. And even when our interview is not on, when other programs that he's got going on History Highway, that 2-minute ad is being played there. So we're getting out in front of people that have never heard of us. And the good thing about this is we're influencing people to make them realize they're not alone. How many times have I heard people who have read The South Was Right come to me and said, thank God you said this, because I thought I was the only one that felt this way. The way you and I feel as SCV members, there are a lot of people out there that feel the same way. All they need is somebody to pat them on the back and say, hey, you're not alone. Now come join us. Help us out. Call your politicians. Help us save our heritage. So that's what the programs like this will do. And believe it or not, politicians see these programs too. And when they see it, they'll know the SCV is busy. And it's not just local, it's nationwide. Also, we're doing something in Epic Times. I don't think we have. I tell you what, most of you, there you go. The Epic Times, if you're not familiar with it, it's probably the largest print and digital weekly paper, conservative paper being printed today. It goes out to something like 250,000 subscribers. I was in my camp, my SCV camp this week, and I brought a copy in, and one, oh yeah, I've already seen it because I get it. My wife's an art. She goes to arts program with some artist friends of hers, and one of her friends, guess what? They take the Epic Times, and they were just excited to know about our ad. This is a put that back if you don't mind, please. This is a quarter-page ad that was seen in the Epic Times, and this will be seen once a week the whole month of April. Now, this is how we are supported. We are putting our name. Now, notice again, like Ron said earlier, There's no Confederate flags on there. I'm sorry, folks. We could not get ads nationally, even in a conservative journal, with a Confederate flag. But we can get it with an antebellum home. We can get it with our museum, and we can get it with here by telling them there's no liberal wokeness in this museum. Come here and see the true history of America and the South from 1607 to now. So this ad, and it mentions right here, museum, Elm Springs, owned and operated by Sons of Confederate Veterans. And if you'll look at this QR code in the right lower right-hand corner, guess what that goes to? That goes to Forrest Dawes' 2-minute video that they will see right on their phone. And then right here that says join or donate at www.scv.org. Now, this is in a national paper. It's going nationally. Conservatives in Washington, D.C., your congressmen, your senators, they may not get this, but a lot of their staff members get this paper, and they will see Sons of Confederate Veterans. Wait a minute, didn't something come across our desk from those crazy people? They're not so crazy after all. Look at what they've got. They've got a beautiful museum, an antebellum home. They're organized, and they're advertising in national media. So this helps the organization. It helps in recruiting. It helps us when we go to the congressmen and senators, both our state and congressional in D.C. It helps us to be able to have influence, and they know we've got something going big. Now, this ad right here was ran by my camp, the McGuire camp in West Monroe, Louisiana. We ran this in the Ouachita Citizen paper here this week, and I've got all kind of good response there. Again, it's a local thing, but what did Ron say earlier? Everything is done locally, and this is April. This is Confederate Heritage and History Month. If every SCV camp would, or even if just half of the SCV camps in our organization, which would be about 420 camps, if they would run an ad like this in a local newspaper. Now, we ran ours in a weekly paper because it's more conservative, and that's more people read the weekly paper than they do the daily paper, and we're getting positive results. And this quarter-page color ad in our weekly paper, and then it's got a readership something like, I don't know, somewhere between 8,000 and 16,000 people. I think it cost us, well, I know exactly, it cost us $275. Now, folks, that's not much money to spend once or twice a year to let the world know that the Sons of Confederate Veterans is not some little small organization, but it's a big organization with a big, beautiful museum, a big, beautiful antebellum home, and they are fighting the good fight against liberal wokeism and defending traditional American values. So your citizens out there will see that. So when you're at a gun show or a civic center or a civic group recruiting people, they will know who you are, and they'll know that this is not some little small group, but a big organization. So that's the advantage of this. Don't run this ad expecting to have 10 or 15 new members at your next meeting, but it will make it easier for you to recruit members, and it puts the politicians on notice. We are here. So you better pay attention to us and watch out what you're doing when you're trampling upon our Confederate heritage and history. Now, what other thing, and thank you, Moose, you can get rid of that if you want to. You might like it better than looking at me. I don't know. But anyway, one of the things that we're doing, Ron and Bobby is in, and Bobby will know about this because we're dealing with him in getting a Dixie Defender that put together. And y'all are familiar with our Dixie Defender. Here we go. What we're trying to do is go local with the Dixie. This is a national gun show. We call it the gun show issue. It can fly in any gun show anywhere in the South or the North, for that matter of fact. And it's a soft sell. It's not a hard sell. It's not in your face. Abraham Lincoln was a tyrant type. We know that's to be true, but the average citizen does not understand history the way we do. So it's a soft sell, pro-South, pro-SCV. The Sons of Confederate Veterans in Monroe, Louisiana, and West Monroe, Louisiana, we're getting together. We have two namesakes. We have Thomas O. Benton in Monroe. that the camp there is named after. Thomas McGuire in West Monroe, our camp is named after that. We're going to do a story about these two gentlemen who were pillars in the community, not just Confederate soldiers. They were great Confederate soldiers, but we want to point out that after the war, they were pillars of the community. They helped build Monroe and West Monroe and Washita Parish. And in the front lead article, we'll be talking about a Confederate hospital in Monroe, Louisiana. Very few people know about that. But just think, when you're a citizen of Washita Parish, Monroe, West Monroe, and you go to some yard sale and somebody's handing out these Dixie Defenders and it's talking about something local. And then they look in the middle of this doggone thing and there's a big ad in the middle of the Dixie Defender for a Sons of Confederate Veterans, and it's showing their big museum in Columbia, Tennessee. All of a sudden they realize that SCV is a big organization and they've got something going. It makes it easier for us to recruit members. And again, as I say over and over, politicians take notice. So we're encouraging local camps to start thinking about putting together Dixie Defenders that will go in their local area that has local attraction and local emphasis. Now, I'm going to mention something right quick. I'm going to try to hold this up. You will see on the Defender, we have a paid ad on there. Now, Ron and I paid for these ads, but anybody that wants to buy an ad in there, it will help to reduce the cost to the camps for the putting together the Dixie Defenders. 1,000 of these special issue Dixie Defenders, I'm going to do just round figures, about $400 for 1,000. The ads will generate about $150 to $200 per 1,000. So your camp, in our camp, Monroe, West Monroe, we buy 1,000. We're going to take 500 each. We're looking at only having to pay about $200 each. And we'll really less than that, about $150 each. And we'll have these things to give out at local civic events, festivals and fairs and gun shows and things of that nature. Also, on that ad that I was showing you, there's a space there you can adhere your local SCV camp name and contact info. So people will pick it up if they're interested. It's not on this ad, but it's on the one in the Confederate Veteran. The Dixie Defender. And you can put your name, your camp name, and contact information. So we've got a lot going, and we're trying to get the tools for the local camp to use that will help promote the cause and defend the cause of the South.
All right.
Ronnie,
appreciate that. Go ahead, Bobby.
May I? I recently ordered 1,000 of the Dixie Defenders. They're now 55 cents a copy because, like everything else, prices are going up. So 1,000 is going to cost you, with shipping, closer to $650 or $700.
Yeah. Okay. And what we'll probably end up doing, those ads will probably charge about $100 each for those ads. So then you're still knocking it down to about $400 1,000. Now, anybody, anybody can buy those ads. Ron and I we're crazy. We just got hog money. We'll just throw it away. It's just hogs. It's just what's money to a hog, Ron?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so we buy ads in these things to help the camps out. It helps us, but I guarantee you, I probably don't. We may make a little money off of it, but not. We might break even. But nevertheless, if you don't break even. If you got somebody locally, you probably will. If you got somebody that's got a barbecue place or some event, something like that, or you've got a local author that wants to get his name out, by all means, let him buy that ad. And if push comes to shove, if you can't find anybody else, contact the Kennedy twins. And, they don't have good sense with money. And if they've got money, they'll buy an ad for you. So the main thing is to get this information out and to make it easy for the camp to do it.
appreciate that. And again, if you want some of those national, what we call national ads for the gun shows, Bobby Heron has them, and he'll ship them to you. Just see Legion at Reagan.com, and he'll get them to you. And we appreciate that, Bobby. You're doing a lot of hard work.
Selling lots of 100, by the way.
Okay, good. Lots of 100. Thank you, Bobby. We're 2 minutes over time. I'm going to close this down, but I was negligent early on. I was bragging. I was so excited about the Virginia billboard. I forgot to say that also during the month of April, Tracy Clary. Donna, do you remember the name of his camp?
New Brunswick, I believe.
Okay. Apologies if we got the name wrong,
Tracy.
but they've purchased, along with the Confederate Legion's help, some radio ads to go out. So real nice. They did it themselves. And I hope that they'll, he said he'll send me a copy of the ad so we can post it so anybody else can hear it. But it's really a nice, smooth, easygoing ad about our Confederate heritage and the Confederate History Month. So again, the folks in Virginia have been very active, and Donald and I. Let's see, Donald, what are we going up to Virginia for?
I don't know. I figured that out the day we leave.
Oh, okay, all right. Where will we be going in Virginia?
I don't know.
It's
a division meeting, but I got all that written down. I don't worry about that until I get ready to leave.
All right. Well, before I have to sign off with consumption, thank you very much, Lieutenant Commander in Chief. Thank you very much, Bobby Heron, our Deputy Chief of Heritage Promotion. Got that right, Bobby. And thank you, Moose. We appreciate everyone listening in. I hope that you will continue promoting our cause, the cause of the South. God bless the South.
Please share this. Tell folks, please share this on your social media and let people know that they can hear it there. Please. The more we share, the more this information gets out, and sharing does not cost anything.
Terrific. Thanks a lot. Everybody, stay Southern.